Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have everybody join us today. We're doing another wonderful interview with Miss Diana. She played Morgan Elsbeth in the Mandalorian, and today is the interview is for the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, and we're also fundraising for First Robotics, a really wonderful organization that does a lot of things with the kids that are into science and technology, and Star Wars is so much science and technology. So thank you for joining us. Diana, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this, and we couldn't be more appreciative of your time.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here, guys. As you can tell, I'm very excited, and I just love what you guys do. I mean, oh my gosh, talk about being a force for good and just doing things to help change people's lives. And yeah, that's awesome, guys.
Well, wonderful. And so we also have two others with us today. Really quick, I'm the detachment leader for the Bounty Hunters Guild. And then we also have Anna and Luke with us. If you guys would introduce yourselves.
Go ahead, Anna.
Thanks. I'm Anna from the Philippine Garrison. I also represent the Legion public relations teams.
Awesome. My name's Luke. I hail here from the UK Garrison. I'm up in the northeast of the UK. And I recently started working with the Bounty Hunters detachment, working on Mandalorian related CRLs. And I've been with the Legion since around about 2014. And it's a great cause, a wonderful, wonderful bunch of people. So everything the rest of the guys do around the world is just spectacular. I'm always in awe of working with everybody in this group.
Wonderful. Well, now that introductions are out of the way, we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. Luke, you got the first question.
Absolutely. So, hi, Diana. Thanks. It's nice to see you again. This is
hi, Luke.
Awesome.
Nice to see you again.
Honored to be again. So, I'm going to get directed straight there. So, you introduced us to a brand new villain in the Star Wars universe, which was Morgan Elsbeth. And certainly, what I would like to know, at least as a Star Wars fan, how did you approach that particular character? And what did you draw for inspiration for that role?
Well, it was interesting because you say the name Morgan Elsbeth. I didn't even know what my name was. Everybody was making a big deal like, oh, Baby Yoda, we now know his name. It's Grogu. And I'm like at home going, I got a name. I got a name, honey. I'm Morgan Elsbeth. I was never told my name. I just knew that I was the magistrate. But I will say this, when I was asked to originally audition, it was a very secretive audition. I had to sign an NDA, but when I received the sides, 'cause it's not like you get the script, you only get pages, right? It's the pages are even coded. And I knew this was a commanding figure. I knew this was somebody that ruled with an iron fist, but probably saw herself as a hero in her own mind, so to speak. So for me, had the task of trying to look at historical characters in our own humanity that might have been controversial. So I started looking at Queen Elizabeth, Henry V, Henry VIII. I looked at Caesar. Catherine the Great. I just looked at different historical figures that actually had a lot of power and controlled masses of people, because that's kind of the feeling I got from the pages. And so when I auditioned, it was I was finding out things in pieces, and it wasn't until about a month later that when I was invited to come to the set, and after I'd been told that I'd been casted, I still didn't know the magnitude of my role. Honestly, I had no clue what was going on. And all I know is by the time I arrived on the set, John Favreau was there to greet me, because I thought I was just going to be meeting exclusively with the stunt team. And then he takes me through the volume, and then he brings me to Mr. Dave Filoni, and then ironically, Robert Rodriguez was there that day too. And I know nice. Robert from when I worked on his show, Man at Arms. I was a guest on that. And so it was just such a treat to see these amazing men and to meet Dave. And at that point, I still didn't know, how the heck they found me. But Dave Filoni goes, I bet you were wondering, how did we find you? I'm like, yes. And he goes, well, we knew that we authentically, and we as in John and Dave, he goes, we knew we authentically wanted somebody that was a real martial artist, and they could have gone to any major star in Hollywood. Really, they could have. There's amazing actresses out there. And apparently Dave was on Google and he looked up women martial artists, and somehow my name and picture came up, and he goes, oh, interesting. And he clicks, and that led him to my film, The Sensei. And that's when he said, you know what, let's bring her into audition and see what she can do. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of how my journey was and how I approached Morgan. But like I said, I didn't know her name until the night it aired, and Rosario's, playing Ahsoka, was relating all this history that she's conquered worlds and this and that. I'm like, what? Really? Ooh, this was awesome.
The world just expanded.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I have no doubt you're
I'm
being
blown.
far too humble with your own classification there, because I couldn't think of one other actress that could have taken that role the way you did and made it what you did. It was uniquely and perfectly you. And I think what you were going on about martial arts leads in great to a question that Anna's going to pick up on. So Anna, do you want to take the next one?
Yes, thanks, Luke. So, considering you're named after your godfather, Bruce Lee, and you also bear the name of your dad, Guru Dan Inosanto, how does this tie in, this rich martial arts history that you have, bringing it into the role and into your career as someone who has done stunts, choreographed them, and even created your own film about it?
Yeah, great question. I'm so lucky and blessed, and I think about it all the time now. I just, it just blows my mind away that having this charm circle of martial artists that I was raised around, who happened to be family to me. Bruce Lee was Uncle Bruce to me. He wasn't Bruce Lee, or the dragon. He was just Uncle Bruce, right? And then my father. And it's interesting because I was with my father last night, and we were talking about this fascinating road where the planets and stars aligned for me to do this role, right? And I keep thinking, I go, Dad, do you remember? I mean, we saw Star Wars and we loved it. And later on, you would go and purchase, 2 plastic lightsabers out from Toys R Us, and you would play with me. And I just think about the foreshadowing of how that would lead for me to do this role. In fact, and my dad's famous for doing double weapons. So, I mean, that's what he would do, is come at me, and I would learn how to block and angle and work with different weapons. That's just part of the process. So when I think about Uncle Bruce and my dad, really paving this road for me, it's really mind blowing, and I'm just so grateful. And I'm glad that I could channel my ancestry, because for me, martial arts is not just a hobby. It really is my heritage. It is my culture as somebody who comes from, a half Asian American family, where that I'm very proud of, and had to, struggle in my corner of the world in the United States. My family came to this country around the early 1900s, and to see this journey. And I'm so happy that my family and my friends and my martial arts family seems to be really happy and connected to, this whole process, because it feels like their journey too.
Awesome. That's great. I mean, some of that probably ties into my next question, which is, what was your first experience as a Star Wars? And obviously, being a Star Wars fan yourself, we're now hearing, how does it feel going from being fan to being on the other side of the screen? Because we're fans watching it on a TV. You were in front of the cameras. That's I can't even process mentally how that must feel.
Yeah,
as a
trust
fan.
me, as a fan, I'm still trying to process that. Listen, it was amazing because I was a little girl and my dad had to do this his first international martial arts seminar in Aspen, Colorado. And it was amazing because on a weekend we all decided, or the adults, I had to, go along, but thank God they allowed me to come with them, the adults. And we went to Star Wars and it was packed, it was crowded, and everybody was excited. And to see this magical, just magical reaction and people jumping out of their seats, and to feel the energy of an audience and their reaction to the first time ever seeing Star Wars on the screen and what George Lucas brought to us, those first seeds. I mean, as a kid, I jumped out of my seats. I mean, literally everybody was standing up, especially when the Death Star exploded and everybody's like crazy, going mad. And my father later on, when we were all done with the whole experience, he just goes, God, could you imagine what we could do with, the lightsaber, and you could do this kind of fight scene and that, it was just amazing that it just led to this process. So yeah, that was my first reaction, seeing Star Wars and experiencing it, organically. And I've always been a fan. I was more familiar with the movies, but later on when I had my own children, then I became more acquainted with Dave Filoni's world in the animation world too. And so again, it was like kind of receiving this world again all over through the eyes of my child, seeing it through their prism. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's evolved year on year for Star Wars. It seems every year you think you've understood everything about the universe, and it just keeps on going. It's great. So anyway, I mean, I guess talking more about films, Amy's gonna shoot you another question now. Amy, if you want to take it away.
Well, and relating to, being a child and seeing it for the first time, I mean, my parents, they got me popcorn, and from the time it started till the time it ended, I ate 3 pieces. So yeah, it's just, I can't imagine actually being a part of it now. That's awesome. So yeah. My question is, you had already mentioned your the movie that you did, the film The Sensei, and did that change how you worked on future projects, including The Mandalorian?
Did that change how I'm trying to think. I think when I think about doing my film The Sensei, which really was what triggered Dave to be curious to seek me out. For me, I had to go more backwards than forward, because it goes back to my godfather, Uncle Bruce, because I think about, had I not taken the risk as a filmmaker, as a writer, director, producer, and actor, I kind of get chills, like what would have happened? Would Dave had found me? I don't know, because there are a lot of amazing female martial artists that have also tried to get into the acting realm. And I don't know. I think about that all the time. What would have happened if I didn't take the chance to make The Sensei? And I'm so glad that I had Uncle Bruce in my life as a child to inspire me to take that risk, that calculated risk, because coming up in Hollywood, it was really hard as a woman, and then a woman technically of color, because people didn't know how to cast me. And even though I had theater training and I had an aunt that was an actress, it was a real struggle. I mean, that's why I had to go more into stunt work. And because thank goodness, my heritage was martial arts, so I could really get in there and double for Sarah Michelle Gellar and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I could work on Walker, Texas Ranger for a lot of Chuck Norris's guests. I could work on Star Trek. I was very lucky. That is what preserved my ability to stay in the Hollywood industry and get the training I needed to later on understand what I needed to do on the set of The Mandalorian. So I was very at home on a set already. And then I was already in the company of people I sort of knew from the stunt world, because many of them had trained at my father's academy, or I knew them from training with them or working with them as a stunt woman. And so so I suppose that's kind of how the movie and my history impacted my readiness to work on The Mandalorian. Although I wasn't ready to know, but arriving on the set, I must say, as an actress, with Dave greeting me on the set going, how do you feel about your world? This is all yours, or something in that vein. I just was blown away that Dave Filoni was even saying that to me, you know. Oh my God.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Please.
Absolutely. I mean, you've touched a little bit there on a part of what I'd like to discuss next. So obviously last month was AAPI Heritage Month, which is American Asians and Pacific Islanders Heritage Month. You shared a great photo of former Imagineer Wing Cho, who was also in the episode. He played your good counterpart, so to speak. He was the other magistrate in the episode.
Yes.
And I just wanted to know, from your perspective, what does representation mean to you in the Star Wars universe, and what would it mean to, say, like a young Diana, if she got a chance to see someone who looked like herself on screen today? Like, what's the impact for you on that?
Oh my gosh. Oh, you're going to make me cry on this one. To young Diana. Oh, wow. I'm going to really tear up here in a second. Listen, it's interesting because I was just giving a speech on a panel for, honoring our AAPI Heritage Month. And I started thinking back, and I was sharing that as a child, at the time when I was a little girl, I always knew I wanted to be creative and be an actress. And I remember as a little girl at the time, telling my cousin, sharing this story that I want to do this. And she goes, well, they don't cast for our types. They don't cast people like you and I. And I remember like crying. I'm like, what do you mean? And it was the first time I was even aware of the concept. I mean, I've been aware of race, that, because my mother was white and my dad was Asian, and specifically Filipino or mixed Filipino. But I mean, to tell a child that you can't have a place, your face, your heritage, your culture doesn't have a place in the world, particularly on the screen, that was devastating for me. And I remember crying to my mother about this, and she goes, honey, you are beautiful. No matter what, yes, there is my mother wouldn't lie to me. She just said, yeah, it is hard. There isn't much representation for someone that looks at you, yet let alone others. And she goes, but you never know, there might be a possibility down the road. Sometimes things can change, but just know, I think you are beautiful and I love you. And you are made perfect in my eyes. And she was always amazing. So representation is important, because when you're a child or even as adult, there's something about seeing yourself on the screen, and you feel part of the bigger zeitgeist of our global world, our global community. And so I have to say, this is why I love so much Disney. I love Lucasfilm. I love John and Dave and Catherine for expanding and opening up culturally our sense of the screen in the Star Wars universe. Thank goodness that they're doing this. This is important, and not just for people of color. I will say men and women, showing strong women, so important as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. And I was torn on some of those things, but honestly, I have my own origins, and seeing people represented on screen, it just has a bigger impact, and it's something you don't even think about as an issue, but it's a feeling. And I know, certainly seeing you guys on screen, representation is certainly been more considered going forward, and I just hope it continues. But I don't think people always understand what it means to see it.
They don't.
So thank you for that. I know that was a little traumatic to talk back about, but I really appreciate it.
Great question. And let me add too, because it was confusing, because growing up with Uncle Bruce and Dad, especially around the Chinatown school, and if you understand who my godfather was, he was about bringing in that we're all one family under the heavens, under the sky. There's that great quote, we are about one family, it just happens we are different. And growing up in a mixed home where my mother was Caucasian. You know, we are of Irish and French ancestry, and maybe some speculation, even English ancestry. I don't know yet. And then my dad, you know, we're Filipino and a little Chinese and maybe a little bit of Spanish, right? And so I go, well, how come I have this in my personal life? How come I have this around the Chinatown school and all the students? But why would anybody suggest to me that we couldn't have this, you know, on a strong medium like movies and TV or books or whatever, graphic novels, et cetera, et cetera? How is that possible? And that's why it was so confusing. But great question. That's why representation is important.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Over to you, Amy. All yours.
Well, and the strong female role is just adds to it. And I mean, I know for so many of us, you know, little girls seeing Leia on screen and how strong and powerful she was.
Yeah.
And, you know, how many of us are who we are and where we are today because of that character. And I don't have any doubt that your character is going to play that same influencing role in the lives of little girls.
Yeah. We will see, you know, how
all-
not to
of
behave
all-
in life, you know.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
Morgan does have
Comic-Cons when we
issues.
see all the little girls like costuming as Morgan Elsbeth.
Yes. I
That's
look
going to be
forward to that.
fascinating to see.
It is, yeah. That will, and for all the other, like, any celebrities that you meet, anytime you see them and they've seen a small child, it doesn't matter what else there is. Like, I want to see the photo of you seeing the first Morgan Elsbeth cosplayer kid, because it's going to be a picture. I have no doubt.
Yeah, that will be a treat.
Yeah.
Agreed. So I'm sure the fans are itching to know more about your character and her origins. So do you have any insights into the origins of the character?
I know
anything you can share with us. I know you probably.
Yeah, no, I know just as much as you guys, honestly. Like I said, I didn't even know my name was Morgan Elsbeth. I didn't know she was a conqueror of all these worlds, and that she, what was it, some sort of survivor or something? I don't know, or that, you know, her people. I didn't know any of these things, you know. So I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, wondering all these things too. So we'll see if and when or how, or if possible, we don't know what John and Dave have, you know, wrapped up their sleeves. I don't know. And I still don't even know if I'm coming back, guys. Seriously, I just don't know. So you guys can throw the bet if I'm coming back or not. Let Disney know if you think I should come back. I just, you know, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I might come
It's
back.
got to happen. You didn't die on screen, and that's the rule.
Yeah.
If we didn't see you die on screen, you didn't
even
die.
if she did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they could throw you down a Death Star shaft, and you could still be alive.
Yeah, I just don't know. So we'll see, guys. I'm hoping and praying. We'll see. So
I hope so too. Anyway, in the actual fight scene in the episode that you were in, the Jedi, you faced off against Ahsoka Tano, which was obviously the first time we were all seeing a live action, which was mind blowing. There was so many brilliant screen quality. Like, it was Akira Kurosawa. It was cinematic. It was just beautiful. But anyway, that was obviously played by Rosario Dawson. And what was she like to work with in those fight scenes? And how did you feel off facing against two lightsabers? You said a little bit earlier that you may even have had some experience facing off against more than one staff weapon.
Well, let me say, when Dave Filoni, on that fateful day when I came to the set for the first time, and I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know anything about my role. I will say, the moment Dave Filoni said Ahsoka, I just knew. I knew in that moment what my mission was, and there was just this overwhelming feeling, like I was really having a brain melt, honestly, because all he had to say was one word. And
so was that the sell to you? Like, you're gonna fight Ahsoka Tano?
Yeah, I knew, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be the one, fighting her. Oh my God. And I'm trying to be professional, like, yeah, really, okay.
Yeah.
But
It
it's
seems
not
to be
jumping out of my skin. It
yeah,
was
it
so
seems to be
hard.
such a common thing for every celebrity interview that I've seen. It's like they're like inside they're just exploding, and outside that, yeah, it's cool, it's cool.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah.
I'm not sure I could show that the level of composure that you guys do. I
Oh
would just,
my gosh. And again, because I knew what that character was all about because of my kids, thank God, and how treasured she was. So the fact that, and I didn't know this, I didn't realize that there was a fan base that was out there kind of pitching out there, I guess on social media about Rosario
yeah.
or something like that. And so I didn't know anything about that other than, oh yeah, Rosario, because I had met briefly Rosario, like when she was doing Rent, when I was a stunt woman years back. I had met her mother more. I got to know her mother more than I got to know her because I was getting ready to do the Sensei. That was a weird kind of synchronicity.
It's all a circle.
Yeah, it is. And because I was, it was a struggle to get this little indie film off the ground. So having Rosario play this role was such an honor. I knew she was going to kick butt on this. I really did. She is naturally, her presence, if you meet her, she is a strong, intelligent, energetic, funny woman. And oh my God, the energy, I'm so jealous. I mean, her energy is unbelievable, guys. I mean, she's incredible.
You could feel it watching the episode. Like
yeah.
there was something about her presence on screen. That first shot, lightsaber on, that was it. The hairs on the back of my neck were just on end. Even thinking about it now, it was just, for me, that was the best introduction of any Star Wars character, hands down.
Yeah.
There has not been a better introduction to a character anywhere.
And she emptied her cup. She took in all the information on how to approach the fight scene because she was working with a lot of people that I knew from either my dad's academy or the stunt world, or people that had 2 degrees trained in my dad's method. So, I could see her working out, Filipino martial arts and in other forms. And, Ryan Watson, who, by the way, is the stunt coordinator on this, is a remarkable coordinator. And he put together his team, just this wonderful fight scene between us. And I love that it felt very custom made and it felt very natural. So Rosario kicked butt, excuse me. And, it was just wonderful casting. And I'm just so honored, just so thankful.
Awesome. Amy, over to you.
Well, I think I know the answer to the next question. I mean, would you reprise your role as Morgan if the opportunity presented itself?
Are you? Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely, I would. Oh my God. Yes, I would.
We need to start a hashtag going, make Morgan return.
Yes.
Something. I don't know. We need something snappy.
Yeah. I want to find out her, I really do. I'm curious to know what the heck is her backstory. Like I said, I just don't know. So yeah, I hope so. So we'll see what the universe does.
Fingers crossed.
We'll have to start a movement, Luke.
I know. Yeah, it has to happen. It has to happen. It was the fact that you didn't die on screen.
Back. I want my coat back from Wing Chao.
Yep.
I want my best scar. By the way, there's the best scar. If you guys can see that.
I can see it.
That looks nice. It's so funny because Wing Chao and I stay in contact. Wing, was the other magic he had with the coat. So
the good guy.
Yes, the good guy, and we've stayed in contact. And by the way, I hope you guys know who Wing is because he is a Disney legend.
He is, yeah.
To me, I almost look at him like the Stan Lee of Disney.
He's a giant of the Disney world, but just crazily in a totally different world to TV and film.
Yeah, and the fact that I could meet him and the way his mind works, and oh my gosh, I mean everything he's designed, and I think it was a brilliant choice and decision for John and Dave to have included him in this world. So, and he's a natural. So.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I didn't know to recognize his face seeing him in the episode, but when I looked up, it was like the idea that this guy had never done any acting before blew my mind because he was really convincing. He was brilliant.
But isn't it's kind of like that Stan Lee, where Stan Lee would make appearances. And
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
Kinda
Yeah,
like that.
the elder statesman
Yeah,
of the world
I
who
just
just
loved
knows how
it.
all of it works. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I always joke around like, "Where's my coat? I want it back wing."
Did you keep any little bits at all? Like something?
No, I
What?
didn't. Just my experiences.
Oh,
It's all in the name of protecting,
yeah,
the
sure.
IP.
Yep, absolutely.
We understand, we appreciate that, because that also helps us as fans be excited and jumping out of our seats when we actually finally see, so.
Yeah, so much goes into, there's with good reason, so much goes into, protecting the projects, and it's important. You do, and isn't it fun to just kind of guess what's going to happen around the corner?
Yeah,
Find out who's
We do
right?
that
absolutely.
a lot.
Yeah, I don't like spoilers whatsoever. So when that
Yeah.
episode first aired, because it was like 6 a.m. in the UK when it was coming out. It was like after midnight for the States. I
Yeah.
got up first thing, bam, lightsaber on. Like that was it. My mind was blown. I was good.
Yeah. What was really funny too, talking about, privacy and secrecy, there were only two people that in my life knew that I was going to be in this, and that was my husband and my manager. But I had to keep this a secret, literally, from my family. My kids sort of knew something was up, except for one who doesn't keep secrets at all. So, but my dad, I had to keep it a secret from my dad. In fact, it's kind of funny. My dad was saying, "You know how I found out you were in this?" I'm like, "No, Dad." And he goes, "Vigo." I go, Vito, and I go, Vito, and he's like, "No, Vigo Morrison from Lord of the Rings. His son trains under my dad
Wow.
in Thai boxing class." And so it was Vigo's son. He goes, "Sifu, congratulations, your daughter's in the Mandalorian." He's like, "What? What are you doing?" Mando, who? He thought Mando was a football player or something. And he goes, "No, Mandalorian, Star Wars. Your daughter's in it." My dad's like, my dad just had no clue. And
That's crazy.
And I didn't have time to tell the relatives, because all of a sudden, once it aired, I was getting barraged by press, friends, it was just like an avalanche of attention for like a week to 2 weeks it was, oh my gosh. So, and yeah, so it was kind of funny how that all happened.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you got any other recent projects that you've been working on? Anything notable that people can look if they want to see you in action more? Like, is there anything? No, obviously, if you're working on them now, we can't know about it. But is there anything else? If somebody wants to see you in action, kick ass, where can we? You said Buffy. You said, like, where can we go and see you?
Where did you find me? Not know that you're watching me, huh?
Sure.
Go to IMDb. You could see definitely my work. And yeah, that's hard to explain, because I was, isn't that interesting? The Sensei is a stunt woman. First season of Buffy. It's kind of.
You just rolling them off like they're casual, like we won't have our minds blown every time. I was just in Buffy.
I'm trying to think. And then there's like indie films that I was in. So I just go to IMDb. I can't remember right now. I'm just happy it was Mandalorian. That's like the cherry on the top, So there you go.
Yeah.
And I guess the most important of all of the questions today, where's Thrawn? Where is he, Diana? Tell us where he is.
It's on the back of the shelf on.
I have no idea.
It's great.
If you guys know, let me know. I have no idea where he is.
Lies, deception.
He wants to. That's great.
Yeah, I suspect for you, this is going to become the same level as Daisy Ridley with Josh Gad. People are just going to ask you where Thrawn is, and you just have to expect it.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. I have I call him my unofficial adopted son, and his name is Michael Lasky, who I've known since he was 12. So, and it's so funny. He calls me mom because I pretty much helped raise him, and he was part of our family unit for many years. Very long story. You might know him from like Three Ninjas Mega Mountain and Power Rangers, like when they shrunk down. So he
Amazing.
has this thing when he sees me, and of course during the pandemic we had to be careful, but a couple of times when he's had his camera and he's like, Ma, I'm like, what? And he would surprise me like, where's Thrawn? You know, and that's been our thing. So I'm like, I cannot tell you, you know.
Which means you know. We gotta find out.
I just know he's in a galaxy far, far away. That's all I can tell you. So
Okay.
sorry.
That's gonna be awesome.
Well, is there anything else that you know you're working on that you want the fans to know about, to support, or you know anything that we can do today to you know give you some plugging as far as you know your work and so forth?
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know. If you guys are interested in having Morgan Elsbeth back, please just let Disney know or Lucasfilm know. And what else? And there is a project I'm working on, but I'm not allowed to also say on that one. So it's like I have these NDAs.
So fans, stay tuned. There will be more to come.
Yes.
Right.
There will be
So
more
exciting.
to come. Yeah.
Excellent.
So,
For all we know, there's a novel about Morgan Elsbeth coming out, and
wouldn't that
we'll
be
know where
interesting?
Thrawn is.
Wouldn't that be
Oh,
interesting?
Yeah,
That would be.
That
Because
would-
it's crazy the amount of speculation when you look online. Like if you read the Wikipedia entry for Morgan Elsbeth, it changes weekly because people are like, she may be the daughter of someone from something, and someone's just taken their latest theory from a book and rammed it in Wikipedia. I'm like, I don't know. I just want real good core information on Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, all the theories, right? And I just, gosh, I don't know, but I guess it's bragging rights once it does come out. If it's
Yeah,
clever, not
absolutely. I
close.
mean, what would you like? Certainly, there's things you don't know about the character. Other than the backstory, is there anything in particular you would want to know? Like, what's high up on your ranking of things you would absolutely like to know and have
Well,
not been answered for you?
if Ahsoka is saying, you know, she was a conqueror and you know, or you know, obviously has a lot of issues, I want to know what triggered those issues. I want to know behaviorally, because I love archetypes, right? You know, from mythology to today's modern mythology, you know, because you think about it, it is a mythology, you know, Star Wars, Marvel, all of it. And like Joseph Campbell, these archetypes probably say something about who we are in society culturally. And so for me, I want to know, you know, what triggered Morgan's behavior. You know, who I would, you know, like to know, you know, who did she have family? What was her relationships like? You know, who were the people, if she was a destroyer of worlds, who was she colliding with? Who did she know? You know, so yeah, I just want to know. I want to know how she became the warrior she is. Those are things I don't know. I mean, I created them in my own sense as an actor, so I could bring that, but I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm right. You know, I'm guessing too, honestly, I really am.
Yeah. I hope we get to see more, and whether it's on TV or games or like, that's the great thing about Star Wars. You could pop up anywhere. You might appear in a mobile app. You could be literally anywhere. Like I know there's been some characters that you don't hear of for years, and they're like, oh, it's in this new book for kids, and it's the first time the character's been shown for years. So I hope we just get more soon, because we just want to know more. You played an absolute brilliant character, and thank you for answering the questions.
Thank you.
But tell us where Thrawn is.
Like I said, I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, those are all of our questions. And again, thank you so very much for taking the time to talk with us today. I know we've all been excited. The three of us have been in a little chat together, and it means the world to us. I know that the fans they've just taken to you, and we're excited to have you in the Star Wars family. And
thank you. Yeah, that's really tough for you to say Star Wars family. That's still, even when
it is a family. Like if you look at the cross section of people just in this chat, like we've got people from all over the world, all walks of life, all different backgrounds, and it's the Star Wars is the great modern unifier of our time, I think.
Right? You know, listen, before to survive as a, in this business on the side, I was a martial arts teacher And when I would travel from all over Europe or North America, or even, you know, Mexico or Asia, I think the thing that always amazed me is either I would see pictures of my godfather, Uncle Bruce, whether it's in Italy, China, Canada, Mexico, but also Star Wars. Star Wars transcends. There's something about it. That's the amazing thing. And the fans itself are part of this equation. They are the yin and yang of this relationship in this Star Wars universe. And in some ways, the fans have made it so amazing for me, especially during this pandemic, to really experience the joy of real, not that I didn't have joy as an actress, you know, doing this, but there's a joy as being celebratory with the fans. And because I'm a fan myself, and I'm like, this is my community. Yes. And, you know, so they've made it real magical, you know, and I'm grateful to the fans, you know. Amazing. Always grateful.
That's great. Anna, I guess, have you got any closing comments for us, or statements, or anything you wanna say Legion wise?
Oh, I don't really have any follow-up statements Legion wise, but actually my little follow-up question is, well, Diana's godfather's secret talent is that he was the cha-cha champion of Hong Kong back in the day. And I want to know what her secret talent is. I know she has one.
A secret talent.
Excellent question.
Fantastic.
I'm not a cha-cha.
Let's just take this because
like
none of them will match that.
I don't know. I think people might be surprised that I used to do hula dancing as a little girl.
Oh,
amazing.
And then also, you would know this, I used to do tinikling, which is like where you take 2 long stats, dun, 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 dun. You guys are probably going, what the heck? And
Yeah.
I'm Googling.
No, tinikling.
Can you spell it? Because
it's spelled different ways, but it's literally a dance you do with, it was actually a warrior's skill to go and to be able to train with long staffs, and you literally get 2 long staffs and you go bum 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 bum, and it's about learning how to be able to move your feet like football players here, where you're going through tires. And so, but it's done through music. So yeah, tinikling, Hawaiian dancing. And then I also studied modern and jazz. So just like, because my mom was a dancer, you know, so I had to.
Amazing. That's great.
So
Very cool. Awesome.
That's my little thing.
Love it.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. But hey, listen, guys, I love what you guys do. I have a couple of martial arts students in different parts of the world. I never knew they were part of the, you know, your group, the 501st. And I just love what you guys are doing. I mean, it's just so important, you know. So thank you for your dedication to really making life better and easier for, you know, people. I mean, seriously, on all levels, you know, it's just amazing. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Diana. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we're going to let you get back to your day.
Thank you.
Everybody watching, make sure you click on the link at the bottom to support First Robotics, and happy celebration of Lucasfilm's 50th anniversary.
Is that today? Today is an anniversary day? Is it literally this day?
Well, it's the weekend, so I'm not really sure what day of the weekend that they've decided to air us. So it could be today, the next day, or the next.
I think for the sake of when this video is going out, today is the 50th anniversary.
Right.
See, there's a reason I have him on staff.
There you go. Thank you. Well, it makes it special for my birthday to be with you guys. So
absolutely.
Yes, yes.
So
happy birthday.
Thank you so much, guys.
Birthday.
Yeah, this is seriously, I love creating memories. So this is a good memory to have for my birthday.
Awesome.
So
awesome. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
All right. Mwah. Thank you, guys. Stay safe out there. And I'm now going to figure out how to leave, I guess I'm technically challenged. That's really bad. So I'm
all right.
Morgan Elsbeth.
It's all right.
All right, guys.
It's okay when you're the magistrate. You can just delegate to other people. It's okay.
Exactly. Press that button. You know. Yeah. So. All right. Mwah. Take care.
Catch you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.